Hey everybody, Gunnison Undercover here. Today is Saturday, April 11th, 2020. And I'm just going to give a little shout out to somebody who is near and dear and close to me. And that would be my sister. And she posted something the other day that I hadn't even thought about it. But I did notice, but I didn't make that connection like she did. So I'm going to read to you what she posted. And this is on April 10th at 10:30 a.m. She says, quote, "Amazing how illegal immigrant situation is resolved. Mass shootings are not a problem anymore. Everything is okay. Just screw with dying from corona." And I responded, LOL, it's not the flavor of the week. Everything you see on the news is all BS. The politicians are all talking out their asses. I went to the laundromat today, and the girl had the TV on, and all I saw was that other socialist, de Blasio, on there flapping his jaws how the schools are all going to be closed the rest of the year. And then I see another video of this other jerk I can't stand, Cuomo, talking to his brother. Every morning they're going to do a little, big brother, little brother live stream and banter between each other. It's a bunch of crap. Saying, oh, I'm staying home because of my mother. I love my mother. I'm staying home. No, my mother's staying home and I'm staying home, okay? What a bunch of crap. Anybody out there that watches news, you're out of your minds. All you're doing is allowing them to condition your brain. I don't watch TV. I own a TV. It's in a box, stored away. The only thing I watch, I go to YouTube, and I got a couple things that I watch on there that I trust. I don't watch the Communist News Network. I don't watch the Socialist M station. I don't watch Fox News, though there's certain people on there I will watch little clips of them on YouTube. Laura Ingraham I'll watch. Hannity, he's an idiot, okay? He's just a parroting the Fox News narrative. So, every day it's just I go to NJ.com, a website that I have a little respect for and credibility with, and all I see, I go down the thing, all I see is coronavirus this, coronavirus that. It's all bullshit. And when it gets to the regular news, it's like this. But the coronavirus, I got to scroll for 5 minutes just to get to some other news story, and it's just like the same story over and over and over. They're just presenting it in a different way. And you people out there, not all of you, some of you, sit there and watch this stuff, and you know that if they tell you enough times, you believe it. And I hear it all the time. When I get engaged in conversations with people, they're just parroting, the mockingbird news that just puts all this bullshit out there. And I'm going to, excuse me, my throat gets dry when I'm talking like this. These numbers, you can't believe everything that they're telling you, because it's all crap. They're giving you these numbers every day of the deaths. Now, for some of you who don't know, let me explain to you something. If somebody's in the hospital and they're suffering from heart disease, maybe they're on dialysis, they got kidney issues, and then they contract the virus and they die. Well, they don't take that death and say, well, you know what? He had kidney failure. They had pancreatic cancer. He had lung cancer. He had a bad case of diabetes. They don't list that as the cause of death. They'll list it as a coronavirus death. Now, let me explain something. The virus is not killing you. It's the byproduct of the virus that's killing you, okay? The virus attaches to the cells in your lungs, and after it's done propagating in that cell, the cell dies, and that debris in your lung now goes in there and festers, and bacteria in your lungs fill up with fluid. Any of you out there have ever had pneumonia, which I have had. I had bacterial pneumonia. You will know what it's like. Your lungs fill up with fluid. Your lungs respond to this thing growing in your lungs. That's what kills you. And the people who are dying, for the most part, are the ones who have underlying health problems. Now, they finally put a thing out the other day, and I'm going to read this to you people. Stay with me here. Give me a second to bring it up, because everything is on my Facebook and on my phone. And give me a second here. Let me scroll down. There's a lot of things going on here. Okay, so this was reported on NJ.com on April 10th. So that's yesterday, boys and girls. And here's the story right there. I'll leave this up so you can kind of read that real quick. Okay, it says almost half of those who died of coronavirus, the con virus, in New Jersey had these underlying medical conditions. And let's go read the story. Nearly half. I want everybody to pay attention. In fact, even get a pen out and write it all down. Nearly half of the nearly 2,000 people who have died of the con virus in New Jersey had known underlying health issues. State officials said Friday. This state officials now, you know, I've been pounding the drum on their websites. When you're going to break it down, tell us what their ages are. Tell us what the underlying health problem was, because they're feeding us. You know, they're making this sound worse than it is. They're making the doom more than the doom is. It's not a good situation. Don't get me wrong. It's not a good situation. They're just making it out worse than it is, because they got to propagate this narrative. Okay, let me continue. At least 923 of the 1,932 deceased residents had some form of pre-existing medical conditions, officials said during the state's daily coronavirus press briefing in Trenton. Here's the breakdown of those with underlying medical conditions. Now, boys and girls, I'll give you a second to think. There's a little pop quiz here. What do you think the number one underlying condition was that contributed to the death of these people? Should I do the Jeopardy theme? Do 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 do. Okay, well, 29% had cardiovascular disease. And cardiovascular disease primarily is probably arteriosclerosis, where your arteries are all clogged up, your heart is clogged up. Okay, that is a consumption-related disease. 17% had diabetes. 10% had chronic lung disease. Oh, lung disease. Is that from smoking? Consumption disease. 7% had chronic renal disease. For you who don't know what that is kidney problems. 7% had neurologic conditions. 6% had cancer. So they had cancer. That means they're on chemotherapy, radiation treatment, some kind of thing. And really, the only way you treat cancer is by poisoning your body. And the theory is that you have more good cells than bad cells, and they try to kill all the cells, but stop. See, the idea is that you're going to kill good ones and bad ones, but you got more good ones than bad ones, so they try to stop it in time so you have enough good ones left, but the bad ones are all killed. That is the theory behind treating cancer. Officials said another 15% had chronic conditions. All right, well, let's see here. What does that say? So, what they tell me here, nearly half. So that's 50%, 65%. That doesn't say if it's all that plus the 15. Cardiovascular diseases included hypertension, which is a common in the USA, said Edward Lifshitz, his name is medical director of the state health department's communicable disease services. Lifshitz suggested caution when looking at the numbers. We get more and more information on people who die than people who don't die. And that's another thing too. The people who are surviving, we're not getting the statistics on them. What was so special about them that they survived? I mean, I just recently heard a story. This was on the Michael Savage show. One of his callers had called in, and the caller he's a regular appearance on there. His niece had died. She was like 26 years old. She had supposedly had the con virus. She died. She lived in a house with 4 other people, family members. All 4 of those family members tested negative. So either she didn't die of the con virus, or the con virus is not so communicable as they say it is. That maybe there's just certain things that are causing it, that you're doing that are causing you to get it. Okay, New Jersey now has at least 54,588 cases of the con virus. And officials Friday reported 3,627 new positive tests, blah, 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 blah. We don't even know if these tests are accurate or not. This whole thing, everything, all this information again is suspect. It really is suspect. In general, officials say about 85% of people will see only mild symptoms of the virus, while about 15%, especially those who are older and who have conditions, face more severe cases. Of New Jersey's total deaths, 1% were under 30 years of age. Okay, so 1% of those under 30. So why are those people under 30 years of age on lockdown? 4% between 30 to 49 years old. Again, why are they on lockdown? 50 to 64, 70%, 17% for the 50 through 64. Okay, so we're starting to get up there a little bit. 30% between the 65 to 79, and 45% over 80. So this brings me to the next thing. You know, the government here is just using this broad, one size fits all approach to it, and it's not the way to do it. The damage that this government, the shutdown, society's shutdown, is going to be more dangerous and hazardous to our health than this epidemic. It's bullshit. They got to take the high-risk people and separate them. You know, like nursing homes. You can't go to a nursing home, and anybody works there. I dare say they got to live there because they're the ones that bringing it in. You know, and that creates a problem too now because these poor old people can't see their family members, and now they're gonna have to set up some kind of thing where these people in the nursing homes that still got their wits about them can communicate with their family, get a visual thing of it. So those are people that we have to watch out for. The stores, you know, the stores condense their hours. So now what would normally become maybe early in the morning or later at night, like myself, I go later at night. Now I have to go in a shorter period of time, which just means there's more people in there. But this governor, he's a freaking moron, okay? All these politicians are freaking morons, all right? They're not intelligent people. They're just people who hobnob well, and maybe they were good at one particular thing and they made a little money, and that's their claim to fame, like Murphy. And brings me on to the next thing. Murphy put out a new order now that's any stores, you want to go in any place now, stores, particularly stores, you must have a mask on or you cannot go in that store. And I read part of the order, and it also says that the stores should provide hand sanitizer. And I went to 7-Eleven over in Matawan the other day, and they didn't have. That's before the order actually was in place. It went in place last night, and they had sanitizer. I think it was soap, but they had a thing on the door to sanitize the hands. So that's one of the big things that the governor has done now. Now, who's been flapping their jaws about that for the past 2 weeks? Go back and look at my video, The Solution to the Problem. I talked about it. Maybe the governor's people are watching my videos. I don't know. If they are, pay attention. I said the way to solve this problem is go after the stores, because the grocery store is germ central. I did live streams in there. I can't take the camera in there, but I did the live streams, and I told you how many people were coming in and out without mask on, without anything on. These are the people bringing it in and out. I showed you that Walgreens video where I just sat there for a half hour. That was just a half hour of time. Half the people going in and out of there had no mask on. And I said, and quote me on this, I said, to go into a store, you must have a mask on. The store must provide you, or you must sanitize your hands. I say the store should have this hand sanitizer, spray your hand with alcohol, and you wipe your hands off. And if you need a carriage, the employee will give you a carriage that has been properly sanitized. And no kids can be allowed in a carriage. Then you can go into the store. Because if you go in, your face is covered, and your hands have been sanitized, you're cutting down it tremendously right there. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, the mask doesn't protect you. It's all baloney. The type of mask you're wearing has something to do with it. Now, if you got one of these little, these are like basically sneeze masks. You know, you cough, it catches the big droplets. But it creates a barrier. And that's the point. A barrier. So that's one way to stop it. The other one is the hand sanitizer. You clean your hands. People are going to stores. They're picking things up. They're looking at it. Oh, look! Let me look at this thing. Oh, look at that. And then they put it back down and the germs are on there. We all know people pick their nose, pick their ears, scratch their heads. Your head's got oil on it. How many of you have been in a bathroom, you're sitting on the toilet and somebody comes in and they get out of the toilet while you're sitting on there and they go right out the door. I know men do this all the time. It drives me nuts. I've said something. I've said it to an employee over at ShopRite. I called the kid Mr. Dirty Fingers because I came out, I was using the toilet and he had just got done with the urinal, and he started to walk away and go out the door. And I said, dude, you're not going to wash your hands? I said to him, wash your hands, man. What's the matter with you? But I've been there numerous times where men go in there and they take a leak or they take a dump, and they don't wash their hands. They're all out there doing the thing. And it's touching shit. No pun intended. So, Governor, if you're out there listening, mask, must hand sanitize before you go in the store and have the stores clean everything. I know you put the order out. I'm just reiterating it. Now, stop with the broad approach. We must just figure out who's getting the supposedly con virus, and those are people we have to target, quarantine, say, look, you're over this age, you can't go out. Okay, if you're overweight, you got diabetes, you got these things, you can't go out. You got to get somebody else to do it for you. And now for people over, say, 60 over, where we start getting to the high risk of 17%, which is the group I'm in, what the stores can do is create a time in the morning between 6 o'clock in the morning and, say, 12 o'clock noon that this age group can go in and no other age group can go in. Or maybe first thing in the morning, 6 through 9 o'clock, the senior citizens can go in. Because these old people all get up at the crack of dawn. So let them go in there early. So that way they're away from everybody else. And then have the other age group, or maybe the rest of us, can go in the rest of the day. And have these stores stay open back to 12 o'clock at night. The ShopRite used to be 6 in the morning to 12 o'clock at night. It's not like that anymore. They condense the hours, and that's just insanity to do things like that. And this is my issue with this goddamn governor we got here, this comrade socialist guy. He wants, to show everybody what his power is, and he's going to control you, and he knows what's best for you. And how's that work out? How many people out there trust the government? I don't trust the government. How many people are dead because of the government? The government is responsible for a lot of people dying, so why would I trust the government? This is Gunnison Undercover. I'm sorry it's a little lengthy, but there's things we had to cover here. Let me know what you think about this. Chime in. I like hearing all the comments, good and bad. And if you don't like something I said, tell me why. And don't give me the parroting, mockingbird news noise, okay? It's getting old. Let's hear your opinion on things. Your formulation. What do you think? What are you doing to try to stop this con virus? It's Gunnison Undercover.